A boardroom dispute at City Developments Limited has gone public, with Kwek Lang Bang accusing CEO Sherman Kwek of a coup over director appointments. The fallout has rattled investor confidence and raised red flags around corporate governance. Eileen Tan from Forvis Mazars is here to comment on this. So, Eileen, what lessons can family-run businesses in Singapore learn from the CDL dispute?
I think three lessons come to mind when I read through the dispute. Now, firstly, the private, public, and personal lines are sometimes blurred in family-run businesses. Now, when boundaries are blurred, disputes will arise when when interests are conflicted. Now, the second lesson is this is when governance is put to the test. When your guiding principles and when your systems are under stress, that's when governance is put to the test. Now, the third most important lesson that I took away from this particular saga is when family businesses get through a crisis like that, they sometimes emerge much stronger from this particular lesson. And one thing I cannot underestimate, it's a saying that is quite common out there for family-run businesses, at the end of the day, blood is thicker than water.
And what does the CDL situation reveal about governance in family-run businesses?
Governance is a set of guiding principles and systems that influence how authority is exercised, how decisions are made, and eventually implemented. And often these processes involve checks and balances to ensure transparency, high ethical standards, integrity, and accountability. Now, in the case of CDL, it's not fair to say that governance has been lacking, considering that has been a family-run businesses that has been very successful over the years across generations. Now, but what brings to mind then is a reminder that governance at the end of the day is neither legislation nor regulation, and therefore it comes down to the commitment and discipline of office holders to strictly adhere to the principles and systems that are in place, particularly in times of crisis.
So, if you were to give us some advice, how can family-run businesses improve succession planning to prevent similar conflicts?
I think three things come to mind. Now, firstly, succession planning is not an overnight process. It certainly requires a roadmap. Now, a roadmap of identifying talent and nurturing talent, be it within the organization or outside of the organization. So that roadmap is quite important. Number two, it has to be a merit-based system. I think over the years, as organizations and businesses have evolved, and the definition of stakeholders has widened quite a bit, the idea of succession by birthright is perhaps not the norm and maybe not so acceptable anymore. So this has to be understood by family-run businesses. Now, then the third thing that comes to my mind is perhaps it is useful to have third-party professionals to provide some objectivity in a process, in a very subjective process that is often clouded, if you like, or influenced by biases and unconsciousness and unconscious bias and preferences.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights, Eileen.
Thank you so much.
Once again, that was Eileen Tan, partner for financial advisory at Forvis Mazars. For more news, visit sbr.com.sg.